Hi everyone, welcome back to the three-part video series. This is the third part of the series. In first video, we tried understanding what RAG is. In second video, we worked on a RAG-based project and we went through this notebook and we understood each and every line of code. And in this video, we will try to convert this notebook into a productionizable code base and we will create a simple Streamlit UI so that end users can use this application and ask their question in a UI rather than dealing with the terminal. So let me give you a walkthrough of what we will be building by the end of this video. So here is a simple Streamlit UI. And as you can see here, we have the input box where I can ask questions. And based on this question, the LLM will provide me the answer. If I had asked this generic question to ChatGPT, it won't be able to answer is because it won't know which paper I am referencing to. But now that we have indexed this paper from Apple, it knows exactly what I'm asking and it can look through the index and provide me the answer. So now let's jump into VS Code and take a look at the code. Do keep in mind in this video, I'm not going to go through each and every line of code and explain you because that's what I did in last video. The goal of this video is to convert this notebook into a productionizable code base. So as you can see here on the left hand side, I have several folders. I have divided this whole code base into different folders and files. First, let me give you a walkthrough of what each folder means. The config folder, it contains config.json. We did look into this in the last video where we have stored some of our configurations like OpenAI API key, data directory, vector store directory. We don't really need to have these two. The next folder is data folder. So in this folder, I keep all the papers. For now, we have only one paper, but if you want to index multiple papers, you can put all the PDF files in this. The next folder is modules folder. So we have divided this whole notebook into several Python files and we will go through them one by one. And this is the research folder, which contains this IPython notebooks. We tried and tested everything in the notebook. Now that everything is working fine, we can divide it into different modules. This is the vector store folder, which contains the index. This is the virtual environment. It's always good to have git ignore file, which will contain all the folders and files which you don't want to push to your GitHub repository. And the next one is app.py. So this is basically your Streamlit application. As you can see, just few lines of code. So here I'm just importing Streamlit for UI creation. And these two files are coming, or these two functions are coming from the modules that we created. This is just a title, and this is to create the text box where ask my questions. The vector store will be loaded. After loading the vector store, the whole question answer chain will be built and then it will be executed. And once the answer is ready, it will be displayed to me. We will also like to show the source from which document or chunk the answer was provided. If you have multiple papers, then it will show multiple papers. If your question needs answering from multiple papers, then it will show multiple papers. But for now, it will just show the chunks from the same paper. The next file is config.py. So it just reads the information from config.json and then it initializes it into different variables. We can read these variables simply using import config in different files, which we will see in just a bit. The next one is main.py. So this is basically the main function, if you want to call it that way, because you need to run this file to set up your vector store. So you need to make sure that you run this main.py file before you run your app.py, because app.py will not create any vector store. It will just reference to the vector store and will try to extract information from the vector store based on the questions. So if you won't create a vector store, your app won't work. This function is to just test things out. So you can ask your questions, and if you want to exit the loop, type exit or quit, it will exit while loop. So yeah, this is just for testing purposes. The last one is requirement.txt. You can simply do pip install -r requirements.txt. So that will install all the required packages. Now let's take a look into the modules folder. So here we have three files. Let's first take a look at load data file. So this file takes care of loading the PDF files and splitting them into different chunks. Then all those chunks will be returned here. If you want detailed description of all these lines, you can reference the last video. Last video I have talked about all these lines. The next file is embed store. So here there are two functions. First one is to create and save the vector store, and this is what I was talking about. So before you run your app.py, you need to make sure your vector store is created, and once you run your main.py file, it will run both of these functions and it will be able to create and save the vector store. And then for your retrieval and QA part, you need to load the vector store. The last file is to build the question and answer chain. So again, this one takes the vector store folder, and from there it will retrieve the relevant chunks. So once everything is in place and you have run your main.py file and vector store is created, all you need to do is run this streamlit run app.py command to run your application in your browser, and then you can start asking questions. So there you have it. This is how you can convert your notebook into a productionizable code base. But as always, in this project as well, there is a task for you. So currently in this code base, I am only indexing one PDF file. What I would suggest is maybe have multiple PDF files in this folder and then index them and then create a vector store and then try asking questions based on multiple papers. That's the first thing. The second thing is right now when you add additional papers and when you run this main.py, it will create index for all the papers all over again. So what you need to do is you need to avoid re-indexing the papers which have been indexed already. I hope you found this video helpful. Don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and comment all those good things. I will see you in the next one. Happy learning. Bye.